Is Litecoin and Bitcoin still bullish? What's up, guys? Crypto Savvy here. I hope everyone's having a good weekend. We're going to take a look at Litecoin and look at our targets, and then we're going to take a look at Bitcoin and do the same. Another thing I wanted to ask real quick is if anybody was interested in me starting a Discord group that is more newbie friendly than a lot of the Discord groups out there. There's a lot of, I guess you'd call chart bullies in them groups that if you don't think the way they think, then they bash you, and it scares people away from learning and posting their charts and getting feedback. So I'm thinking about starting a Discord group, and if you guys are interested, let me know. I'll be needing some moderators for it. But leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and if you're interested in starting the Discord group and kind of looking at the more simple way of doing TA without all the crazy indicators and whatnot. Not to say that you can't share that in there. I'm open to look at all TA. You know, everybody can learn from each other. But anyway, if you're interested, make sure you leave comments in the comment section below. And if there's enough people interested, I will probably start a Discord group, and I'll let you guys know. So let's get into the charts.
1, 2, 3, jump!
All right, guys. As always, I want to start out by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Anybody that's doing any trading or investing in this market, I suggest you do your own due diligence and your own research, as this market can be extremely volatile and risky. Also, keep in mind that this is still a speculative market. So with that in mind, let's get into the charts. Looking at the weekly, looking at Litecoin on the weekly, as you can see, I've had this channel drawn here, this rising channel that we broke out of here. And then we came back down, tested it for support, got support, and we've had this bullish move up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see my EMAs. This EMA here, as you can see, is my 21 EMA. And then we had, that's the blue line right here. And then we had the red line down here, which is my 8 EMA, crossed over right here. And that's where we've gotten this bullish move up. And here I have a 13 EMA. And if this crosses over this 21 EMA, that's going to be very bullish, but that would still be another week or so out if we do get there. Now, looking at the next resistance is right here around the 64, between 64 and 64.50 range. I do think we're going to get some heavy resistance there, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, that if we do break above that, what the possibilities are, or if we get correction there, what the possibilities are. So let's go into the daily chart real quick and take a look at that. And take a look at how this is playing out. If you guys have been watching my channel, remember I had this bull flag drawn in here. And obviously you can see in here in the daily, my 8, my 13, and my 21 EMA have crossed the 200 EMA here, with the 55 still coming up. Which, that, like I said, it's hard to judge actual dates and whatnot that it will happen, but I'm thinking towards the end of this month, we may see a golden cross, which would be the 55 EMA right here crossing the 200 EMA. Of course, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out, but it does look pretty promising at this point, so definitely keep that in mind, guys. All right, so I'm going to look at the targets I've had drawn here, and I'm actually, before we do that, let's go into the daily RSI. And look at the rising wedge I've had drawn here. And if you were watching yesterday, you'll remember I drew a trend line from these peaks here. And said if we broke above it, oops, sorry about that. Said if we broke above it, that was going to be a bullish sign, you know, to continue on up. And I still believe, you know, we could be heading up to the top of this rising wedge here. Because obviously we've been getting support. Let me move it up. We've been getting support from here, here. And like I said, I drew this trend line of these peaks, and we've popped above. And I had said yesterday, if we pop down back below, you know, we could be looking at testing this for support again, and then, you know, could have a sell-off. But looks like we're popping above right now, guys, which is what I thought. And we could be coming up, you know, not to say it's going to shoot straight up, But if you look at this too, I'll draw this in real quick. I love using the RSI to find this stuff, but if you look here, it looks like a inverse head and shoulders forming, which would bring us up to this, test this for support again at the top, and then, you know, continue down, and then our correction may begin from there. So let's take a look at the 4-hour real quick. Whoops, sorry. Get rid of that. And let's take a look at the 4-hour RSI. And if you guys remember, yesterday I showed you this, and we've been watching it for a long time, obviously, since way back in here, but I had these trend lines drawn. And we popped up above this one, came and tested this for resistance, got through, came back down, tested it for support. And I do believe if we do come back down, we'll get support again up for our higher move up. That's why I'm still bullish here in the midterm, short to midterm. So now let's go into the chart and look at some of the targets I have here, and then we'll kind of try to take a quick look at possible corrections depending on where the targets hit, guys. And I'll do that by using the Fibonacci. So right here, this bullish, or this bull flag I had drawn here, excuse me, we've hit our target of the $60 range, and now it looks like we're testing that as support, and then possibly making, let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this, possibly making another bull flag here to our next move up here. And we're going to take a look at where we broke out of this. We'll measure this bull flag, or the flagpole. We'll put it on top where we broke out of this bull flag. And that's what gets me up into the $68 range. I'm going to move this down just a hair. And again, guys, these targets aren't exact. They just give us a relative area to look at. They're usually pretty close, but not exactly on, but they do give us a good area to look at. As you can see, we've hit the targets down here. I had a 56 target down here that I've taken off now that we hit. So anyway, that's where I get the $68 range. And then also I have this $65 range here, guys. And we're going to take a look at how I got these targets. And let's start with, I was looking at this here as a Adam and Eve, and the neckline for that would be right here at the 4120 range, and we would do a measured move from that 4120 range down to the bottom of the Adam, and then bring it back up right back to the neckline where we broke out, and that's what got this $60 range. So like I said, I do think we're gonna continue up from here, but we do have to keep in mind that that did hit that target. So now I'm going to take a look at some higher targets and how I got those. And this will measure the breakout from here where we initially broke out of this channel here, and then we bring it up to the top of where we broke out, and that's what gets me the $65 range, guys. So that's, you know, this is looking, the $64 range is looking pretty interesting, because as I showed you in the weekly chart, that's where our 55 EMA would be. So it's definitely an area to watch, guys. And also the other thing I was looking at, a possibility, is this here being a cup and a small handle, and we would look at this as the neckline for that, the 5140 range. And if we did a measured move off of that, from here down to the tip and bring it back up and sit it right back on that neckline to where we broke out. Whoops, that would be down just a little bit more. There we go. And that's what gets me to this $80 range, which is, you know, it's still possible. You know, once we get up in here, if we do break this $64 range and then we test it and get support there, you know, we can continue up. Or another possibility is we get up here and then make a cup and handle. And if we did a measured move off of that, let's look at this as a possibility here. And that's going to show you my next target up here, which was, let's move this down to the bottom and do a measured move using this as a neckline. And we bring it up to where we would consider the breakout. And that gives us this high target up here around the $89 range, $89 to $90 range. So anyways, these aren't that significant to me right now, guys, until we see what happens once we hit the $65 range. Once we hit that range, we can take another look at it, see where we're headed after that. But another reason, I'm going to show you why I still think we have this move up to the 65 area or 64 area. We're going to go into the 1 hour. And if we take a look here in the 1 hour, I'm going to open up the RSI in the 1 hour and we're going to zoom in and kind of take a look at this. I'm just going to show you guys something you can look for in the charts as you guys are following along, or you know, when you're doing your own charting. But if you take a look here, I'm going to spread this out a little bit. I'm going to open this up so we can see it. Bring this back down. But if we look right here, guys, this is called hidden bullish divergence. If you look at this, see how we made this low here, and then we have a higher low over here. But if we look in the RSI and measure them two areas, they're opposite. So this is a higher low and then a lower low, and over here we have a lower low and a higher low. They're moving opposite. That is hidden bullish divergence. So that's why I believe we're going to continue up for our next move up. Now I'm going to get this off of here, and we're going to take a look at possible correction areas, guys, to keep an eye on. This is pretty important to, I'm going to go into the 4 hour to show you guys that. And we're going to look at where we could possibly correct to if those targets are hit. So first we'll take a look at the $64 range. And if that ends up being where our correction starts, which is a possibility, let me zoom in a little bit and try to get in here. Okay, so what we would do, and I'm going to show you real quick off of this swing low and swing high over here. If we used a Fibonacci on those, from the swing low to the swing high, our correction hit the 0.618. I don't know if you guys can see that. I know it's kind of messy. Let me zoom in a little bit. But as you can see, well, I made this a little too low. Let me get it right to the swing low there. But as you can see, we came down and got some support off this 618. Obviously, we dipped a little below here, but we ended up getting support up there. So that would be our correction area from there. Now we're going to measure this next swing high, or swing low to swing high, and kind of look at where we're at with that, guys. This kind of shows you how to judge for corrections. Helps out. I don't know if this would look, let me try going on the daily and see if it would be easier for you guys to see. Sorry guys, this is taking a while, but I'd like for you guys to be able to see how I'm getting these targets. Yeah, this will work out a lot better. All right, so we take our Fibonacci retracement tool, and then we come up, and like I said, if we put that around the 64.50 range, if we look here, and I'll have to move that target in the 4 hour, but I'm going to move this target up to here. If we do end up, and that's our correction area, then I'm looking at this right in the $42 range for our retracement. Whoops, what's going on here? All right, then we're looking at the $42 range for our retracement, if that is where we start the correction, guys. But remember, we could go up higher, but this is definitely an area to watch, keep an eye on. I'm going to go into the 4 hour now, and we're going to mark that target. And I'm this is going to take a little longer in this video, but I'm trying to, you know, let everybody see how I'm getting these targets. So hopefully people can understand the charting a little bit more. I usually don't go into as much detail, but I really hope this helps you guys out into looking in, but that would make sense here. Now, like I said, if we get up to the $64 range, obviously we're going to test this for this $56 range for support, because that was our old resistance here, that we broke through and now up. So if we do get support again here, then obviously, you know, we're looking up into the higher targets, $72 to $73 range, and then up to the 80 and so on and so forth. But we got to watch how it plays out there, guys. Now I'm going to go into Bitcoin, and we're going to take a look at Bitcoin's chart, starting out on the weekly. As you can see, I had this symmetrical triangle drawn here, which we broke out of, came back down, tested for support, got support, and now we've broken through this EMA here, which is my 13 EMA, the white line. We've broken up above that and testing that as support, and we're breaking out. I'll zoom out so you can see this wedge. This is a falling wedge I've had drawn here, and looks like that's what we're testing now to try to break through this top resistance line on the falling wedge. So anyways, again, guys, we're on the weekly, and like I said, I'm still pretty bullish here. And if we look at up here, this blue line here is my 21 EMA, and that's right around the $4,300 range, but it's still ticking down. So if we were to hit it in the next week or so, we'd be around the $4,250 range, which is one of my targets that we're going to look at. And the other, when we did this measured move off of here initially, I will show you real quick, as this being the symmetrical triangle, dotted line, bottom support, solid line, the top resistance that we'd broken out of. But to do a measured move on there, we would put this over to where we broke out, and that would get us up to the $4,900 to $5,000 range, which is another target that we're going to look at. But if we take that and move it down, looking at the bearish scenario, guys, to where we break below it, it would be somewhere, you know, we may come down and get resistance off this white line and come down here. And we need to watch this area right around the 45.50 range. And if that was to break, then obviously the bearish scenario could then come in effect around the $2,300 range, $2,250 to $2,400 range, somewhere in there. But I'm like I said, guys, if you watch my channel, you know I believe this was our bottom. Not to say that we don't come down and do a double bottom, but I do believe that we have seen our lows. I'm going to go into the daily chart now. All right, looking at the daily Bitcoin chart, and we're going to take a look at the targets here also and see how I got them. Sorry if this video is a little bit longer, guys, but Saturday I'm kind of taking my time going into a little more detail. Hopefully can help some of you guys out. All right, so looking at our targets here, obviously this one hit at the $4,000 range, which I had this support and resistance line. If I zoom in a little bit, you might be able to see it, but it's right across our price line. But I had this support and resistance line, which was this target here at the 39.70 range. It looks like we bounced up, and if it holds as support, looks like we're testing it as support now, then my next target is this 41.80 range to 4,200, somewhere in there. So how we get these targets, guys, excuse me. First, we'll get into that, but I want to look at the RSI now and see what it's looking like. And as you can see, I had this channel drawn here, and I drew this trend line in here that was acting as resistance, and it's still doing the same. Obviously, we're getting support on the bottom here. Now, you know, this could come up to test this again, and we may ride it like it, as you can see we did here, kind of. We did a kickback and then back up. So I do see definite more upward movement here. I'm going to also go into the 4-hour, and we're going to look at the same. It's pretty much the same as the daily, but a little more detail. Obviously, we've gotten support, broke through with a little bear trap, came back up, broke back through, tested for support, got support. And now looking at this line again, you know, we could come down here, and as you can see how this one did, we got some chop, came back up, tested again, got some chop, came back up and tested it. And that's probably what we're going to see here, guys. I don't know that we're actually going to break through this. That'd be pretty high on the RSI to come test the top of this again. Not to say it can't happen, but you know, we could chop along all the way back up in here somewhere. I'm going to extend this a little bit. Keep an eye on that, guys, if you are doing your own charting and stuff. And also keep in mind that I'm not a financial advisor. So let's take a look at the 1 hour just to kind of see what that one's looking like. Same thing, you know, we could draw some crazy trend lines in here or whatnot, but the 1 hour in this one isn't quite as important. I do want to look for some divergence, so real quick. And keep in mind, guys, this is the first time I've really looked at the charts this morning too, so bear with me as I try to see what's going on here. Obviously, this is our target area, that 39.70 that I said, and we're testing it for support. But it's pretty much the same here as in Litecoin. You know, we can find the same hidden bullish divergence. Let me draw the lines in there so you guys can see it. And we would go from here up to here. Let me stretch this out so we can see it. And as you can see, we had lower lows, higher lows. And if we look here, you know, this is looking like definite hidden bearish divergence, or hidden bullish divergence, I'm sorry. This one's still kind of straight, but obviously you can see we're getting higher lows here and lower lows here. So some more hidden bullish divergence, and this one in Bitcoin, the same as in Litecoin. So I'm gonna stretch this back out now. Hope I'm not taking up too much of your guys' time, but like I said, it's the weekend. I have a little more time, so I'm trying to get into a little more detail. Now we're gonna go into go into the 4 hour and take a look at what's going on here. As you can see, I had this is that falling wedge, the top of the falling wedge. This is the falling support line that we've broke out of here. So I you know, there's a good possibility, guys, that we continue up, you know, up to the $41.70 to $4,200 range, and then we got to look at coming back down here possibly to test this for support, and we'll take a look at that in a second here. Let's take a look at these higher targets here and how I got them. So first we're going to go into the 1 hour. Sorry, charts are kind of laggy today. All right, so obviously we're gonna draw a trend line right here real quick on the top of these wicks. Kind of take a look at what that looks like if we zoom out. So we could, you know, possibly form a bull flag here and then continue up, and to do a measured move off of that. We'll see if it would match up. And bring this up over here, right in this area. So if the bull flag was to come in here, let me move this over. All right, let me put that back down. But anyway, yeah, if we were to get a bull flag, you know, something like this forming here, that would give us time to reset our RSIs, and then, you know, get a pop up here. That would get us up to test that 4180 to $200 range, guys. So now let's take a look at, dang it, let's get this out of the way and take a look at these targets. Take a look at the higher targets now. So if we were to, dang it, seems like whenever I do longer videos, everything starts to lag on this thing. I don't know what's going on. So sorry, guys. I apologize. Anyways. All right. Let's go into the 4 hour and take a look at these higher targets and how I got them there. And then we'll take a look at the possible correction areas as we did in Litecoin. All right, we're going to look at this too as the Adam and Eve, which are Adam and Eve neckline would be that 3970 range that I've had marked. That looks like we're testing for support now. And we would do a measured move down to the Adam, bring it on over to where we broke out. And that gets us to our higher targets. Whoops. Oh, that isn't right because... Let me see something. Sorry, guys. But I should have a... Nope, I guess that's right. I measured it wrong. So it would be measured... The Adam and Eve would be measured from here at this 4179 range. And I measured the Eve. We're supposed to measure the Adam. Sorry about that. And we'd measure the length of the Adam, which is down to here. Put that up here to where we break out. If we were to break out above this, and that brings us up to the 5250 range, guys, the high target. Now, also another way to look at this real quick is this could be a, I'll draw it out real quick, an inverse head and shoulders right here. If that was the case, our neckline for that would be right around the 4100 range. And to do a measured move off of that, I would, as you can see, that's where these two peaks, that would be our neckline and across here. And if we were to break that, that would give us the target of around 48, 49. But I don't believe that's what this is. I'm still looking at the Adam and Eve here. But this is the area to watch for the break, guys, is right here at this 4180 range. So if we do break that, you know, then we continue on up to our further targets. But let's do a measured move for corrections like we did in Litecoin. I'm going to take my Fibonacci retracement tool. We're going to measure this swing low and swing high over here and look at the 0.786 is where we got our support on this one, right? So, and if we use like Elliott wave theory, this could be wave 1, wave 2, and then we're working on wave 3 here, which this could be wave 1 of 3, and then 2, and then 3. I don't know if you guys understand. I'm not going to get all into the Elliott wave, but that is also something I work in a little bit to figure out my charts, but I'll discuss that at a later time. And let's take a look at this move here now, from this swing low to the swing high, and what would be our measured move for if we were to make it back up to the 4179. Our measured move for the correction on that would be right around, we're going to move this up here now. Well, actually, sorry about that. If we were to hit the 0.786 like we did over here, this would be our target range would be right around the 3550 range, guys. We also have this, as you can see here, if this was the end of this wave and this was the correction, we got our support at 0.618 and could be moving up from there. Now, say we go up to this 4360 range right in here, which is our old resistance over here, and then take a look at that 0.618 range. You know, the correction could be back over here into the $3650 to $3700 range would be the correction if we pop up to this 4368 area, guys. Yeah, these are the areas to keep an eye on right now. But I do definitely see us at least going up to test this 4179 area or 4180, right in this range. Like I said, keep an eye on that, because if that breaks, then we have a whole whole nother target to look at, which do a measured move here real quick. Take a look, and like I said, measure that as an inverse head and shoulders, put it up here. And if we were to break up above that, we could be looking at the $5,000 range, guys. So hope that helps out. And like I said, I tried to get in a little more detail, so the video might have been a little wishy-washy here, but yeah, that's what I'm looking at for now, guys. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Like I said, if you haven't already, click the Crypto Savvy logo above my head. That'll get you subscribed. Tick the notification bell to get you notified when I post videos. Smash those likes and leave your comments. Let me know what you think, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.